Good evening, everybody. So, today is your turn, okay? So, everybody please be ready with your computer. I will give you a task to do, okay? But before that, let us see our schedule. And according to our schedule, in our next lecture, you will have test 2, right? Next lecture, you will have your test 2 on what is that on? Test 2. So that will be on March 2nd, right? March 3rd? Okay. Yeah, March 3rd, there will be. Okay, so Tuesday. Okay, Tuesday. And we will cover more from module 1 to 5. I already passed a study guide, right? I already passed a study guide on D12. You got it, okay? So you will be covered until module 5. That means our method, okay? So it's cumulative. So we discuss mainly your test question will be from your control statement, selection, looping control statement, and methods. Okay, so we discuss for loop, if, else if, those conditions. We discuss for loop, and then we discuss a prefix and postfix notation of incremental and decremental operator, right? Incremental operator is plus plus and decremental operator is minus minus. Incremental operator increases its operand by 1 and decremental operator decreases its operand by 1. So we discuss a program with a for loop to display something with multiple times. How we discuss with how say plus plus x or x plus plus or plus plus y or y plus plus, how they differ. Practice this program. Then we discuss how to declare a method and how to use method. So let us see, maybe we have, and we discuss how should we name our method with a good name, and we also discuss what the return type of a function should be. Okay, so this was what we wanted to discuss today. We discuss maybe functions return type and return statement. We discuss this, right? Return type and return statement and parameter. Okay, so the number slide 20, we discuss methods, return type, this we discuss this, methods name we discuss, and we discuss scope of variable. There are 3 kinds of variable: local variable, global variable, okay, and parameters. Parameters are kind of local variable. Okay, local variable that is defined within a block, that we sometimes we declare for loop. When you declare for loop, say for int I equal to 0 to somewhat, that I is a local variable within that for block. Global variable, that concept is only for C++. That if we want to use a variable for many number of functions, more than one functions, that concept is for global variable. Okay, or I will show you. Okay, let me see what I left from here. So you said page number 22 on last time, right? What was on page number 22 I missed? This one? Last time you said that I missed page 22. So this page number 22 is scope of variable, I discussed already.
No, last time I said that I have to review from 22 all the way to 64.
Okay, so now you have to review everything. Whatever I discussed, we have to review everything. And let us see that one thing we did not discuss. So then after I discuss this quickly, then I will give you task to work on. Okay, so this program, okay, I will give you this program to find the largest number, that max or min of. Okay, runtime stack. Okay, So actually when a function is called, a function calls another function, what happens? We use stack. So at this moment you should not have enough knowledge about stack. Okay, stack is a last in first out, it's called LIFO type data structure. If you take advanced level computer science or advanced level software engineering course, then you will learn about stack. Like everybody knows about memory, right? RAM, read only memory.
Right.
Okay, read only memory. RAM has a portion that is frequently used, and one portion is used as to save that, for instance, where we left while we make a method call. So like stack is something like, stack is something like this. At this moment you do not need to know about this, but we have a slide to give you a little bit idea. So if you take 1322 where we will discuss recursion, you will know more about stack operation, and you will know in 1322 how to create your own stack. This is a data structure like a data type, like a array or something, a linked list. Okay, so stack something like this. Whenever we read a book, and maybe I got a phone call, I'm reading a book, I get a phone call. Okay, so what do? I quickly maybe put a bookmark on my book, right, so that I can come back to that position, right, when I finish my phone call. So that bookmark gives us quick return to the position where I left, right? If I do not use bookmark, then maybe I may forget. Okay, that concept is a concept of stacking. So stacking, that means, for instance, let us try if you understand this. If you do not understand, not a problem, but let us see that if you understand. For instance, there are some space for main method, and here our main method is the host method that will call other methods. And for instance, there are some variables j and k, I, j, k for in our main method. Okay, at some point main method, when the one thing that the operating system invokes or call the main method, and main method calls other methods like print method, that sum method, or max method, mean method we declare in other day. Okay, for instance, main method can call other methods. So for instance, when the main method is invoked, if the main method is invoked, that who invokes the main method? The operating system. So in this program, in this class, we are not learning how the operating system works or how to handle the operating system. For instance, if you take a course of operating system, you will learn to write a method. If you run that method will shut down your computer, can shut down your computer, or can shut down restart your computer. Okay, or open a file. So in this course we are not learning that. Okay, for instance, the main method, it calls other method. For instance, we have another method that is called max. That method's name is max. So when main method call the max method, so if we have the max method had argument or variable num1 and num2, for instance. So then if my main method I pass j I equal to 5 and j equal to 2, and when I call the max method and I pass the argument I, j to the max method, so for instance this I value will go to the num1 and j value will go to the num2. So for instance, if my method structure is like this, this max method, what is my max method? Is max method like this? What is my max method? For instance, max method here, this is I, x1 is I and x2 is j. Okay, so when I pass this value, it will go, what is my max method? What is my max method? this is my max method, the x1 will go for num1 and x2 will go for num2. So that is what it is telling here. So I is for x1 and j is for x2. These I will go for num1 and j will go for num2. And then it will find it will calculate what is the max value. According to our algorithm or logic, it will find the max value, maybe either I or j. For instance, in this case, I will be max value, right? So the result will be, our result will be max value 2. The second value, num2. Okay, so then it will put result equal to 5. Then when the max method operation is done, okay, then what we will do, this method, this max method will return the result. What is our result over here? The num2, for instance. Okay, that value, in this case the result will be, for instance, num1 5 max value. It will return that value to home, the k, if say k equal to max, then it will return that value to k. Okay, and then we got the maximum value. At this point the stack will be empty. So when it comes, that means stack will be empty. That means after, whenever in my main method, when I call max, it will execute. After that it will come to the next point, next statement. And in this next statement, if it calls another method, then it will use stack again. Okay, so if you understand this, then good. But if you want to learn more, then you can do Google search, or you have to take other advanced level programming course. Okay, at least 1322 you will learn more about stack operation. So in this course we are not discussing more about stack. Okay, and another thing is that we just want to give you a brief hints about, it's called method overloading. I discussed in our last lecture. It is possible to have a common name of a method. For instance, here more than one time we can have a common name. Say here is sum, here is sum, here is sum, here is sum. I have at least 4 5 sums, 6 7 sums, right? So for all of these methods have a common name sum, but it is possible, this is called method overloading. Method overloading happens within a single place, in this single class. If there are more than one methods in a class or in a program, for instance, you don't understand class now, then it is possible to have more than one method, but the condition is the methods must be different in terms of the number of parameters. These are the parameters, right? The number of parameters. Here there are 2 parameters, here there are 3 parameters. Here there are 4 parameters, here there are 3 parameters. Or the type of parameters. 2 conditions, right? Either the methods will be different in its signature, either by number of parameters or type of parameters. Only 2 conditions, okay? But not by the return type. Return type has not a factor. Okay, we cannot have a method like this. We cannot have a method here in this group or in this family like if I say this, I cannot have it. Oh, I do already have it, right? I cannot have it because this one and this one has same parameter, right? But they are different only in terms of return type, right? It's not allowed. It is not allowed. This method and this method, they are allowed because these are integer and these are float. This method and this method are allowed because these are in float and then integer and float. Okay, so these you will learn more about method overloading and math in our 1322 course if you take, okay, but these are not in your. For instance, here there is an example. It's a math. It has two integer type variables argument, and it has only one integer type argument, and it has two double type arguments, and it has no argument. Is okay.
So what's the point of having overloading?
Okay, so when we call this method, instead of giving multiple names, different names, so we can give only one name. So when we call math method by passing only one argument, it will call the method which one has only one method, one parameter, one argument. So then this one will call this method, and whenever we call this method, it will call this method. It will check at the runtime. It will call the appropriate method by the parameter, by the given parameter. Okay. By this way, one advantage is that you can have multiple methods with a common name. Okay. And for instance, if you call this method, then you are providing two float type variable, right? So it will look for this double type. This one, double and float are same. It will look for this one. Okay, let's do the final rule. Let us see that whenever we cover this or not. So you cannot define a method inside another method. We discussed this very beginning, right? You cannot declare a method within a body of another method. Method must be outside of a method, okay? That method always reside in either in class in C# and Java. They reside out within class, and Java in C++ we can have program with object oriented program, that means with class, or without object oriented program. So far we discussed the program. This is not an object oriented program. So after your test from next week we will discuss object oriented, maybe, right? We will discuss object oriented programming. Then you will understand a new paradigm of programming. That is a more interested thing, okay? Maybe from next week we will discuss class and object. When you discuss class and object, so do not miss any lecture whenever we discuss class and object, because I will not hear on 3:12. There will be no lecture, but I will ask you to watch video, my recorded video, okay? We are going to conference. We will have no lecture on 3:12, March 12. Okay, method cannot see each other variables. Okay, so whenever a method we declare this method. So this method has variable num1 and num2, and this method has variable num1 and num2. These are two different family. So this method will not have access to this num, although they have same name, right? But these are local, these are local, these are local. For instance, if I would have a variable something like this in my main method, something like this one, for instance, this one. These are local, okay? So, but if I, for instance, this one, if I declare this variable before or outside of all methods, so these are global variable. So integer, I say z1, let me say g1, and if I say g2, so these were global variable. So global variable concept is only for C++. Okay, so if I declare global variable, so then I can use this g1 and g2 within any method. Okay, that is the advantage of global variable. Okay, so whatever variable I declare, so this variable g1 and g2 are outside of this method, right? It is not within any method. These are called global variable.
So what would be the point of the global variable?
Yeah, the point is that if you want to use same data for more than one people. For instance, all of you here, if I ask you what is your university name or college name, KSU, right? If I ask him what is your university name, KSU. If I ask her what is your university name, KSU, right? So you are giving same answer, right? So instead of declaring your university name as a variable for each of person, I can use a global variable, right? For same value for all student at KSU. So we can save our space, right? So whenever we can want to share something with more than one method, then we can use global variable. So in Java and in C#, in object-oriented perspective, we declare those as public variable. But in non-object-oriented programming like C++, what we are doing here, it's called global variable or public local variable. But in object-oriented perspective, we say private, that means local. Okay, and we say public, that means global. Okay, so we will learn this when we discuss object-oriented programming. Okay. Okay, now everybody please ready. So let's start with this. Okay. Everybody start with this and start from here. Okay. For instance, let me start with simple, very simple. Start with a method like this. Write a method that will take two integer numbers and it will return you the sum of those numbers. Okay, the sum int end. Okay, everybody please start programming. Okay, you can do Google search, but first try yourself. Build a logic or an algorithm on your head. Okay, if you cannot, first try for few minutes or at least few seconds to be able to do this by yourself. If you cannot, you can do Google search, but you cannot talk or ask the people next to you. Okay.
What do you want the method to do? Just to sum two numbers?
Yes, sum of two numbers. Very simple. Start with very simple. Let us start with very simple. I discussed all of these methods in our last lecture, but for now today, you try yourself, please. Start with your favorite language first, then convert it to other two languages. Okay, actually we want to cover all of this. Okay, so as many as we can, we want to do this. We want to do sum, average, max, mean, GCD, LCM, factorial.
Yeah, how do you, what about those last three?
Last one, LCM.
Yeah, no, all those three. I've never seen those.
Which one?
All three of them.
Which three?
Line 39 through 41.
Okay, line 39 to 41. These are for GCD. How to find GCD? Greatest common divisor between two numbers. Okay.
Yeah, how do you even figure that out?
Okay, so that is the good question. So you know, if I give you two numbers, 5 and 15, do you know how to find LCM and GCD?
Yeah.
No?
Yes.
You forgot?
No. I mean, just, you talk about greatest like common denominator?
No.
Or the greatest, what do you mean?
No, not common denominator. Denominator is comes for when you deal with a fractional number
So
that has numerator by
greatest
denominator.
common divisible?
Yes.
Isn't that the same thing?
Yes. LCM, least common multiple. For instance, 4 and 6.
Okay. Yeah, what's,
Okay, what is the least common multiple?
I don't know.
Okay, that is you should know. Okay, so at this point, I'm not teaching you how to what is LCM, but I can teach you how to find LCM. Okay, so multiples of multiples of equal to 4 equal to 2, 4. Let us see 8. Multiple of 8 equal to 2, 4 and 8. Okay, then multiples of 12 equal to 2, 3, 4, 6 and 12 also, right? Okay, so for this one, what is the least common multiples over here? Okay, GCD. LCM least common multiple. Did I? Okay, let us see this one, multiples of. So LCM least common multiple over is 4. Okay, so LCM here is a list. GCD is called GCD. Okay, so GCD, let us find GCD. GCD will be the greatest common divisor. What is the greatest common divisor over here?
Hold on, I
4.
thought we were on LCM.
Okay, let us see GCD. 4 is greatest common divisor.
Skipping back and forth, I'm gonna get confused.
Let us do both.
We can't
4 is
if I
GCD.
don't understand one. Can we do one and then go to the other? Because you're confusing me.
LCM equal to
I have no idea.
okay.
I'm still trying to figure out which you're
Okay.
talking about.
So multiples of, so let us see, multiples of 3 equal to 0. Okay, they start with 0, 3, 6, like this. Okay, I did a mistake. Multiples of, so not this one, 3, multiples of 2 and multiples of maybe 6, 8, 6, 12, 18, 24, right after. So here, what is the least common multiple? That is 6 is the least common multiple, right? 6 has here and also here, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Then 6. Okay, LCM equal to 6, least common multiple. And if I say GCD, divisors of 8, 2, 4 and 8, divisors of 12, 2, 3, 4, 6 and 12.
So how come you have 248 in
GCD.
the GCD, but you don't have the
Divisors.
So then in multiples,
Greatest common divisor is over here. What is the common TSS divisor? 2, 4 is 4.
So whatever number, whatever number you have in there, it needs to multiply that number. Multiples of 6. Oh. Oh.
That's where the 6 from 1824.
Can I define?
And the multiples of 2.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, yeah, now it makes more sense. 'Cause I'm just like, why? Like, that was like, 2 times 3 equals 6. I mean, and like,
Right?
so,
we need user input or?
Yes. Okay, later, okay, so start with the hard-coded input, then the user input means keyboard input, okay? You have to take your input, you have to, when you run the program, then finally will go there, okay? Then it will ask you to you give a prompt, and then it will ask you to enter numbers, 2 numbers. For instance, then you will enter 2 non-equal numbers. Then you can use same numbers to use find max between 2 numbers, minimum between 2 numbers, average between of 2 numbers, sum of 2 numbers, difference of 2 numbers, right? Yes.
how do we find the GCD?
It's not. I'm not using math. I'm sorry. This is not a math class, okay?
That's not what I'm asking. I'm asking, how do we actually do that program?
Yes. So this is how. So let us go. Start from the max and min, and I will go over there. Start from how to. You have to write code first. How to find sum of 2 numbers. Then how to find max of 2 numbers, right? Then I will go there.
Well, we did that in our lab, so that's what.
No, in this class you have to also learn programming, and then in lab also you have to learn
Oh,
programming.
well, I mean, we did that in one of our labs. It was the max and then the average. So we did that in our lab.
Whatever I ask you, please do it, okay? Please write your program.
Yes, sir. I can't, I don't have the equipment. My laptop's dead.
Can sum, then try to find average. Next class will be mean. Okay? And then next go to find how to find max and minimum, right? Gradually, okay? Start with the easiest one, then do it and do one by one, okay? Everybody please do the easiest one, find how to find sum of 2 numbers. Then if you when you do it, then how to find average of 2 numbers. Then if you do it, then find how to find maximum of 2 numbers, then how to find minimum of 2 numbers, right? Okay, proceed gradually. Starting from easiest one and proceed to complicated one, okay? The last 3 we will discuss about how to find GCD and LCM. If you know how to find max, mean, average, then you will be able to do GCD and LCM. Otherwise not.
Any number
find GCD in C++. Find GCD in C++. Now I'm changing.
I can just wait till we learn it.
Yeah.
Okay, you can declare that one. That is just constant value.
But do you have to create a variable?
This is not necessary.
Oh,
Not very much. Line number 117. System.console does not contain the decimal possible right. L right the H right L of numbers. So if I'm my next return sum cannot find single sum. This is the line number 31. Now on now to return sum, right? Hey guys, if you're doing a computer, I told you in the last lecture to bring your computer. Okay? From the upcoming lecture, we will do practice. Almost every day we will do some. So now at this point, I believe I would tell you that you are confident, able to stand confidently on computer programming. And now you are learning how to walk step by step. Okay? For your upcoming test, okay, practice those things, okay? That you need to, okay, never discuss. Okay, so whoever's done, okay, please practice how to get input from keyboard, user input. User input means how to get input from keyboard, okay? Whenever you run your program, it will give you a prompt to input number, one is the true number. So if you want to find max or mean or average or sum number, and then whatever the number you enter, the program will work with those numbers. Right? That is called user input. Okay? Practice. Alright, who wants to go?
My press is
Lee, you wanna go?
rather than
Discuss LCM and JCD?
You go with Amy.
Can you show us rather than maybe not looking for the
If you do not practice how to find max, mean, how to find average, I should not.
Oh, I thought you were talking about GCD.
I should not teach JCD.
What do you mean you should not teach GCD?
Yeah, because you need to first learn how to find max, mean, average, max, mean, right? Then we have the point comes for LCM. So if you do not understand how to find max, how to find mean, then you will not understand.
We do understand it.
I want to see your program.
My program?
Yes.
Fine.
Otherwise, I will skip it. So if you do not, yeah, so go down.
Down here. I'll do a new one. What? I'm gonna do a new one. That's too confusing.
Which one you want to do?
I'm gonna do all of them. Why is it doing this? Ah. No. There we go.
Yeah, I understand.
What is the other one? In sum, what was it? In average?
Actually, double average. Double or float.
Huh? Double?
Or float. Because it's gotta be, probably be decimal.
Should we? Huh?
Your parameter stays in.
want to find average of three numbers. How many you need? At least three, right?
As many
Needed. As many needed, but not extra, right? Unnecessary, not unnecessary. Okay, for the test, for the upcoming test, you must practice how to set keyboard input from keyboard, okay, and then sum two numbers, find the max of two numbers, find the minimum of two numbers, find the average of two numbers. Do you understand? Okay, for now I'm going to skip GCD and LCM. Until you understand how to find max, min, you will not be able to understand how to find GCD and LCM. But find how to find GCD and how to find LCM and how to find factorial. There are tons. Thus, you can try home or you can see my code, okay? Or you can do Google search. There are many codes. Okay, but first of all, you have to start from beginning, right? If you do not know how to add two numbers, how to find average two numbers, how to find max, how to mean, then you will not be able to understand. There are multiple ways to find GCD and LCM. Whatever you know, you can look at that.
Couldn't I just modify it to yeah. There's no syntax.
There are multiple ways to find okay, for the test, you do not need to find LCM, GCD, and factorial, okay?
But we need to find it now.
Yeah, and you need to know others, and you need to know how to take each code from keyboard, right?
Just know how to do those minimum, maximum, average, lab. Come on. Do it. Those are really easy. Program one. You misspelled name on 46. I didn't realize it was a word.
So what?
You misspelled name on 46.
I didn't do that.
Okay. Yeah, what am I talking about?
I'm perfect. Oh. Turner. What do you think? What do you think the issue could be? I don't know.
You need a return not inside of if. Okay. So just change the last one to just an else. Instead of an else. And get rid of the parentheses. Stuff. No, not a curly bracket.
Yeah, I got you.
And then same for the main function. Because if x isn't the greatest and y isn't the greatest, then z is going to be the greatest. Same with make sense?
No, what happened?
Perfect. Was your sum is incorrect. You're only adding x and y. Not z.
I know. I was just testing you, bro.
Right.
I was just making sure you're good. You know.
Yeah, of course. I see.
You know, I gotta keep you on your toes.
There you go.
All right, there you go, Professor. Done.
Fix LCM?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm like halfway done through like converting it to C#.
Tonight, you can send me tonight. It's not required. Thank you. Okay, thank you everybody. Do not miss your test.